Hello and welcome back to the CFCTALK podcast. Another episode. This time we've got Ankit all the way joining us from India. I'm from India. I'm in India as well. But it's nice to have you on the channel. Welcome to the channel. If you haven't checked this content out, some amazing content all over. Whether you're an English speaking, if you speak in English, if you speak in Hindi, if you speak in Urdu, just go check him out in the description below. Ankit, welcome to the channel. How are you doing? Before we get into the
My
transfer
pleasure,
window.
mate, Mohammed. It's been a while. I know that we've been in touch for a very good while, and I remember back in the day, like we were actually on the same podcast. I think it was the eve of the Champions League where we actually won it.
Yeah,
So that's how long we go back. So it's great to actually finally be back on the channel. Of course, always looking forward to speak Chelsea, especially, and yeah, as in English football is something that I always loved. But the fact is, transfers have been difficult. It's been a difficult time for the club last few months. We know that as a fact. So it is a transitional, kind of a period. But being Chelsea, we always are open for a change, aren't we? So pretty much sure, that's something that we
look,
always like.
we've just gone through some of the three worst months of Chelsea. I wouldn't say history, but in recent times of transitioning from an old owner to a new owner, the sanctions, not knowing what the club's going to be like in a few months, and suddenly you wake up to news like Ronaldo wants to join Chelsea, or Ronaldo is handing in a transfer request, or Neymar's looking to join and reunite with Tuchel, and Sterling deal's complete, and you kind of think to yourself, okay, the transfer window is really back when you have these unexpected signings being targeted by Chelsea.
Yeah, I think you know what? I think hit the nail on the head because I think it's really a Chelsea thing, and especially last 3 months, as you pointed out, right? The fact that I think there was pretty sure there was some amount of homework done by Bruce Berg, by Marina Granovskaya, and by Petr Cech, and of course a few other people put together, right? They would have done certain amount of homework, but I think the clear aspect was that when Todd Boehly came in, he was like, "No, I got to back the manager." And as per reports, they kind of disagreed on the fact of Lukaku, which is obviously the number one transfer thing which has happened in Chelsea out as of now. And that was a no-brainer. Someone who doesn't want to be in the club, has got to move out. Yeah, at the point of Marino was maybe, is it worth it considering what we have paid for him, etc. But whatever the reason being, I think they disagreed on that, and that is why maybe whatever homework they did, for whatever reason, has not been actually taken to the next step. I know that Sterling was an exception. I guess Sterling also, one of the names that is in the, as in transfer targets is Sterling, which is quite close. Again, it's interested FC, close FC, I know, but I think that is kind of looking very, very likely as per reports. But Marina did negotiate that bit, which is going to the next stage, which is great. And again, Sterling is in that bracket of, I would say, even he's in the big name bracket for sure. Pretty sure what he did in Euros for England is something that cannot be, disregarded at all. Just about a year back, time flies, right? But the fact being that if we get Sterling, as in that is what maybe Tuchel is preferring because he intends high press, someone with high energy, someone who go direct, and that amount of kind of work rate plus the fact that he can float around in terms of being a striker or being a winger, that maybe may kind of fill two gaps in a sense. Yes, we might lose Ziyech as well after Lukaku now, but Sterling might be the answer. Yes, getting into Neymar and getting to Ronaldo, the big names, is something that is a Chelsea thing, especially these times when them being available. With Ronaldo playing the Premier League, I remember back in the, was it 2014-15 when Mourinho came back and we were linked to Ronaldo very strongly then as well, because the Portuguese connection and now Tuchel Neymar connection. So that's bound to happen. But I think it's the agent talk more, and I think Chelsea are more probably going to be targeting Sterling, Rafinha, more Premier League based players who are proven, who are youngish, who can get some value for investment as well. I think that has been the plan after, of course, the failed Lukaku mission.
No, I completely agree with you on that fact. I think with the Ronaldo and Neymar news, it's more of agents screwing up this drama, agents trying to get deals from other clubs as well. Because at the end of the day, Paris have openly said it going into the future, Neymar and Messi might not be in their plans 2-3 years down the line. Maybe they are next year, but maybe not in the future. Along with Ronaldo, there's only so much he can do at Man United, and with the state with what's going on at the club at the moment, with the coach and everything changing every now and then, struggling in the Premier League as well. It's not wrong for Ronaldo to submit a transfer request, but I just feel like in a Manchester United perspective, they won't want to sell him to any Premier League club because it directly means he plays against them. It affects them as well. And when he performs well for Chelsea, it directly affects them. So clearly, if he was to go, I think he will try and go outside of the Premier League. And I think this is more of just chatter and voice, background voice at the moment with Ronaldo coming to Chelsea. I don't see it happening, which is why I think not a lot of Chelsea journalists are picking up on that or trying to create some hype in there, or the trusted ones at least. And along with that, let's head into firstly Matthias de Ligt, something that's been happening at Chelsea for the last few weeks. Juventus really hoping that they get £70 million around for him. There were considerations by Chelsea to give Werner instead of just paying the 70 million. Chelsea now are hoping they might be able to get away with paying just about 60 million and get him at Chelsea, since de Ligt is very open to move in. And there's talks between the club that has been progressing daily. What do you think about that, and how key for signing that is? Because clearly Christensen's gone, Rudiger's gone.
Yeah, you know what? As in Christensen, to be honest, the way things happened in the end, it was probably good riddance as much as he served the club. Rudiger is indispensable, irreplaceable, at least for the time being. But yes, we eventually need to replace him. No player is bigger than the club. Fair enough. So, but I'm just glad the fact that we have finally, okay, not totally, but at least to some extent moved on from the Jules Koundé talks, because I think from the last 8 to 9 months, all we could hear is Jules Koundé, as though there's not another centre back in the whole of the world, right? Which is not true. And even Jules Koundé wasn't up to the mark in terms of what he was ready, etc. for Tuchel. Yes, great potential, but de Ligt, I'm glad not only because of that. The reason being that de Ligt kind of fits the Chelsea DNA. He's one of a leader. He's just not just a defender. In the Ajax days, you remember the way he kind of won the league, etc., and got them, I think, Champions League semi-final. It was brilliant. He's someone who's actually again, I know for a short while, but also played with Aki in the Dutch team, and with us getting linked to Aki, someone who's also knowing Chelsea kind of helps. And de Ligt is someone who with the Dutch team has played 3 at the back, and of course with the Juventus team, he's kind of played both the systems under Allegri. So I think it kind of fits the bill. And compared to maybe a Jules Koundé, I would say de Ligt has probably played more high pedigree matches. So he has more experience, although both are very, very young. But just the Premier League, right? The build that he has, the leadership that he has, he kind of, seems to me there's more fitting to the Premier League. Yes, he has a lot of mistakes in him. So you would kind of question 70 million for someone who's actually error prone right now is questionable. Let's be honest about it. But it is not only the market value, it is the EPL tax, the Chelsea tax that we all know it is a matter of fact. So with that taken into consideration and the amount of centre half available in the market, yeah, kind of surprised we are still not going hard on Koulibaly. Maybe it's a Napoli, thing, or again playing hardball. But I think with the options that we have, de Ligt will be a fantastic signing because of the reasons I mentioned. But again, would Juventus be willing to sell de Ligt right now, considering that I think they've lost Chiellini, right, as who's their stellar performer over so many years. So it's kind of surprising if they agreed to do that. But again, if you're able to pull that off, I think it's brilliant work by Chelsea. And yes, we might have to pay like an extra 10 to 15 million than what we could have gotten him for in a normal scenario, because everyone knows that Chelsea are desperate for defenders. So especially anyone coming from outside the league, coming to Premier League, that tax is going to come, right? So I think right now the talks are about 60 million that Chelsea are kind of ready to give. They might just add on, some in terms of perks, and it might go on to 70, 75 million, and it might happen because the point here is I think he himself wants to move as well, which is, kind of refreshing to hear after what happened with the Rafinha and the Lewandowski saga, right?
I think the reason Chelsea are going more for Matthias de Ligt is because he's a younger talent and someone they're ready to pay the price. And Koulibaly, however much incredible he's been in the Italian league for the last couple of years, he's 31. And the last thing they want is to put him alongside someone like Thiago Silva, who's already 36, if I'm not wrong. And if Azpilicueta doesn't leave, then 33. So you've got a backline of 30 plus players, and then it going a year ahead, 2 years ahead, they will have issues when all 3 of them want to leave, and then you're looking for 3 new defenders, which is why I think they're more inclined towards Matthias de Ligt. And because he hasn't had progressive talks with Juventus. We've heard clearly them say that they're looking for a new club. The negotiations between Juventus and Matthias de Ligt didn't go down too well, and they're ready to move. And if Chelsea bring the right offer, Juventus will have to sell him, especially a player who doesn't want to sign an extension and might leave for free next year or the year after when his contract ends. Along with that, coming from the Italian league, another news is Hakim Ziyech going to AC Milan and Chelsea being open to it. A little bit more of a sign that Sterling is coming, and if not just Sterling, but maybe Ousmane Dembele, which I think has died down a little bit with Barcelona's president saying that he wants Dembele to stay and he will have to accept the terms that Barcelona are giving them. Your thoughts on us letting Hakim Ziyech go and his age being 29 already, is it the right choice, or should we wait another year and let him have the season?
See, as in right, as in the thinking was that we'll probably replace that winger that we have in Ziyech, who hasn't worked week in week out. As much as I personally love him, like I am basically a Dutch international team supporter as well. So for me, Delict, a Ziyech and an Aki would have been perfect, But the fact that Ziyech hasn't worked week in week out, and I think he himself is not someone that who's willing to kind of just give his all to Chelsea at this point in time, because let's get it right. I think January was the time when he had a chance to go back to the Moroccan team, and he decided to turn that down for good, saying that he's going to be committed to the club. And then, despite that, Thomas Tuchel did not play him, I remember, back-to-back 2 weeks. So that was kind of very surprising and telling that he's going to leave. But at that point in time, maybe we had already begun talks with Dembele, thinking that he's probably going to be coming in the summer. I know things weren't agreed, but I think at least there was a high chance that he's not going to agree to Barcelona offer, because Barcelona at that time couldn't afford cash, right? Now that they've got as an economic levers, kind of, I don't know, from whatever as in reasons being that they've got it, approved, I believe that they will be able to afford a little bit more with him coming a little bit down. So I think the fact that he's done so well in the last 6 months in La Liga, being a youngster that he is, he's probably going to not be testing himself. He's going to stick around, I feel. So Dembele coming to Chelsea, the chances are very less. But again, Ziyech, irrespective of Dembele coming or not, and Rafinha also, like, it's kind of died on because of obvious reasons. Again, he might end up in Barcelona as well. So that's why I see that us, in a strange way, maybe not being with a left-footed winger come the beginning of next month, which is kind of not great in my view. That kind of, as a unique quality that Ziyech had, you saw it in games against the Spurs, for example, and the Super Cup, for example. There were moments that you could see the class there very much. But again, that kind of difference from the bench is something that is always needed. So I'm kind of very surprised. So let's see, as in there's still sufficient time left in the transfer window. And again, one more reason being, I'm also surprised because, yes, you said about Koulibaly not being targeted and De Ligt also being targeted because of leadership qualities, despite, as in Koulibaly having it more, but the age factor. But for me, if you see the entire age of the squad, especially the forward line with Lukaku leaving as well, I know age is just a number, but still we'll be having far too many youngsters in the team. So for me, it was imperative that we would have played Ziyech a little bit more towards the end of the season, and we wouldn't have put all our eggs in one basket in Dembele. And now we are kind of stuck there, and that's why I'm saying, like, if we get a Sterling, it can kind of fill two gaps, because Sterling can play wide as well. But again, having that left footer who kind of pings the ball to the left winger, left forward, is something that probably we may not work to our benefit. So let's see who else is there, because there's still sufficient time left. I don't know, I'm just throwing out a name there. Asensio, someone who's been on and off for Real Madrid, he might be available. Just putting it out there.
I think, yeah, Chelsea have a lot of options to play with, and it's just whatever Thomas Tuchel thinks is best is what he will go for. And with Bowley coming in, it's going to be a lot more different than what Roman used to do. And in my opinion, I think it won't be the same as us just splashing out cash for whoever, rather than the way we've done in past windows, especially with Lukaku, maybe Werner as well, with Kai Havertz as well, splashing whatever they ask for. And even though we've regarded Marina as one of the best football directors and one of the best transfer negotiators out there, Chelsea have really struggled in terms of, producing the right amount of money for the talent that they're buying, and have always been fine with paying a little bit extra or paid more than what they're worth, because when they've come at Chelsea, they haven't been as successful as they were in their previous clubs, which is also concerning. With that, I can't think of any other news that we might have missed other than Raheem Sterling. Obviously, everyone knows what's going on.
I think the wing back, I think the backup for the wing back, because I think the last season that was an Achilles heel really, with Reece James being out and Ben Chilwell obviously being out for such a long time. So Jonathan Klaus is an interesting one. I know that we were very slightly linked with Kukurea, but then Man City are getting him for cheap. Probably, he's not someone that probably fits the Tuchel system in terms of someone who can, join the midfield. Because remember, we were linked with Hakimi in the past as well. Perisic has gone to Spurs, so that doesn't help either. Of course, we didn't have the ownership at the point that Perisic had to make a decision. So again, that has kind of been our problem in recent months. But I think if you are able to get Klaus on a cheap, that might help kind of free up Reece James a little bit more. Someone who I know Tuchel likes playing right centre half and three in the back system. Although I personally prefer him as the right wing back. So that is interesting what's going to be, because again he's coming on a cheap, so we might as well invest in him rather than go for another top level centre half, because these James can cover there. But again, personally, if you ask me, I want Tuchel to be much more flexible. I love Tuchel, give him a lifetime contract as things stand. But there were questionable moments towards the end of the season when he had moments to kind of experiment much more, go with the 4-3-3, play Ziyech and stuff like that, which might bring in more attacking football, something that I know Roman previously loved. I don't know, Burley, pretty sure he just wants what Tuchel wants, right? So I think going with that, I think let's just back Tuchel, but hopefully we'll have some more options and not just kind of stick to the same options what we're going with the last few months. And I think we should be good. It's a transitional season, so let's be honest. You said it right. Ronaldo news is a fact, right? Manchester United and Chelsea are directly competing to be in the top four. And as much as it doesn't sound right, that is just about right. So we have to
if they get off right,
if
they get off right, then you've got a competition with Team Man United. That they can stay in the Conference League.
Pretty sure, yeah, I agree on that. But yeah, let's see. As in, but the good part is, Burley's backing Tuchel. I genuinely believe, as much as I would love Petacek to be here, but still, I don't think it makes sense, if Tuchel is not agreeing with things. As in, again, those are just as per reports. So right now, I think everything is with Tuchel and Todd Burley, and let's get a director of football quickly. I hope we get that. That helps them.
Yeah, I think there was one talk about getting the ex-Manchester City COO on board and trying to get him on the Chelsea board, or at least someone who can negotiate the transfers. But even with that, I think Chelsea have made it clear that this transfer window, Todd Bowley is going to do it himself, and
Correct.
Naming himself as a chairperson immediately in Chelsea fans' minds puts a bit of a it relaxes the mind in terms of knowing that the owner himself is going to be sitting there discussing transfers, backing the board, backing the transfers, and backing Tuchel in front of the board, which is always nice to see. When a lot of we've seen Man United board members or Man United owners, Arsenal owners, generally not have a lot of input, especially being from the United States. There's this impression that they buy the team, but they don't work on it as much as they might be doing back in the States with their basketball teams or their respective teams in there. But yeah, it's nice to see Todd Bowley make those actions. And yeah, just with the transfer news, Raheem Sterling's happening, De Ligt's happening, a lot going behind the scenes of Chelsea. And I think as fans, we are kind of maybe just on the verge of getting a little bit frustrated, Ankit. Would you say that because we're just deals are going, nothing solidifying when Tottenham are signing a player almost every week. Arsenal have their targets. They've signed a couple of players as well, Man United as well. So Chelsea are the only one who have struggled.
Absolutely. I think there's no two ways about it. We are frustrated, but again, it is 4th of July as we're recording it. So I don't see that as a major issue right now. As much as, we get someone like, say, in the first week of preseason, a player who kind of starts for Chelsea, and probably that's Sterling. I think that is just about fine. I'm ready to kind of wait, because let's be honest, it's not rocket science. Burley came in in the second week of the transfer window. I know that was late in itself, but there's no point looking back. We have to look forward and just go with it. And that's the reason I'm saying that even if we get a director of football right now, even though it might not immediately help in this transfer window, the long-term planning, which Todd Bowley really believes in, it will certainly help. And at least, just the factor that, someone who's a better negotiator also coming in also helps, because the two voices are better than one when you negotiate with clubs. You know how agents are. So I think that's the only reason. Otherwise, yeah, it's a matter of time. Otherwise, we will be fine. Hopefully, we use some loan army people coming back, because that is, I'm glad that in Roman we were able to kind of build that over time. And pretty sure, he's at least going to be checking out who are the players who are actually ready for first team football in Chelsea. Gallagher, Colville, Brohoff, the likes. I know there are a lot of rumors going around, but hopefully we are using them. And till the time we kind of, get to grips to, okay, who's ready, who's not. Maybe we'll get a couple of signings, as you mentioned, the right names.
Right. Sterling to be announced this week. And Ankit, if I had to give you an option and say Neymar to the club, is that, whether it's happening or not, we don't know, but Neymar to Chelsea FC, would you be accepting that? Yes or no?
Yes, I would accept. I'll just quickly give you a reason. Like any other manager in the world, I wouldn't have accepted it. knowing Neymar, yes, he has tremendous amount of quality, and he definitely upgrades in terms of skills what a forward line is in terms of finishing as well. He's not the absolutely best product, but he is very, very good product, absolutely right. But because Tuchel has managed him, he knows how he's off the field to some extent. If we can negotiate on the wages, why not, right? Again, even Ronaldo, to be very honest, I know that major of the Chelsea fan base don't agree with me, but that's fine. Because right now, I want the short term and the long term. 5 years is a very long time, despite whatever problems we've had in the last few months. To win the league, 5 years is a long time, and we got to end the dominance quickly as well. So for that, we need some stopgap solutions, and unfortunately, we don't have a Drogba ready right now. Otherwise, I'm sure he would have played for us. So that's the thing, right? Because
honestly, I think even if he unretires and comes back to Chelsea, he can do better than Lukaku.
Oh yeah, that's for sure. That's a given for sure. But yeah, like I said, for 1 year, maybe a loan, something like that. It won't be a bad option. Someone who's also in a World Cup year. So Neymar, Ronaldo have lots to prove. At the larger stage, so they will be motivated. And Ronaldo in particular is a pro. So I don't think there should be a real reluctance to that. But I agree. Maybe Manchester United might not be open. Neymar, on the other hand, PSG might just be open. But again, it comes down to salary and what Tuchel kind of talks to him, because pretty sure if there's a manager out there who can manage Neymar well, is probably Thomas Tuchel.
Right, that's it for much of the transfer news that's been coming to us this week. Thank you, Ankit, for joining us. Check out his channel and all of his social media pages in the description below. Thank you for giving us your time. I wouldn't take too much of it, and I hope to have you back on the channel once again. And hopefully, when the season starts, we'll have much more chats and have interesting chats. Just not around the transfer window, but as well as the Chelsea results. Thank you for coming on, and to all of you guys watching, make sure to leave a like rating, subscribe to our channel, add us to your playlist. It really helps us in the algorithm, as well as or check us out on the audio platforms. If you want the latest transfer news, follow us on all of our social media pages, and we'll see you next time.